What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT. Good morning to you all, wherever you're watching, whether you're listening to this on your way to work or at break. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm not really much of a morning person. I'm gonna be honest, I got a little bit of insomnia. I just don't go to sleep at the right time. I'm probably going to go to sleep after I get done recording this. But I wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about all of the recent transactions that's gone on in the last 24 in the NFL and moves that are going to have major implications, not just on some of these teams, but on the draft as well. Stefon Diggs is heading to New England. This is one that I didn't see coming. I don't picture Stefon Diggs as a Patriots kind of player. I think of him as a flashy, high profile, big market kind of guy. But he chased the money with this one. Money's undefeated. The Patriots got to overpay to get some of these guys with what has transpired over the last couple of years. But I think this could be a really good fit. I want to explain why the New York Giants signed Russell Wilson. I thought that they were going to draft Shedeur Sanders. So does this move mean that the Browns are going to take Shedeur second overall, which I hope doesn't happen? And I don't think Shedeur has a chance in hell of being able to succeed if the Browns take him second overall. The Giants is where he needs to be, but if the Giants can't get Shedeur at 3, we're going to have Russ versus famous Jameis in a quarterback battle this offseason. Who's going to end up winning that? We'll dive into it all. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you don't miss when we drop new content. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Links are down in the description and pinned comment below. It's free to give us a 5-star review. If you love the content and you want to support us, all you got to do is give us a 5-star review, man. Like, I know y'all out there are listening to podcasts. I check my audience demographics and I see that a lot of y'all listen to other podcasts out there. So come on, man. Like, rate the JT Sports Podcast 5 stars, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. If you got some mailbag questions, we want to hear from you. We will answer your questions when we do our mailbag episode on Friday. Hit us up in the DMs on Instagram at JT Sports _ and on X at JT Sports __. Now let's dive into it. Stefon Diggs is signing with the New England Patriots. This is a really weird fit to me. When you think of Stefon Diggs, you think big name, flashy, big market kind of guy. Him playing in Foxborough, Massachusetts was the last place I would have expected for him to kick off what pretty much could be the last stage of his career. But hey, you know what they say, money talks in the Patriots. Let's be honest, they're overpaying for Stefon Diggs. 31 years old, coming off a season-ending injury. You're giving him a 4-year deal that's going to pay him $17 million a season. But the good thing is, Stefon Diggs is a borderline Hall of Fame player, so he still probably has roughly around 2, maybe 3 good seasons left in the tank. And contrary to popular belief, Stefon Diggs is actually good for young quarterbacks' development. When he got traded to the Buffalo Bills, that's when Josh Allen became one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. With CJ Stroud last season, before he got injured, CJ Stroud had 11 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and completed 65% of his passes. But after Stefon Diggs missed the rest of the year, CJ Stroud, his numbers regressed. 18 touchdowns, 7 picks, and completed only 58% of his passes. When you have a young quarterback and Drake Maye, who last year was throwing to the worst receiving core in the league, now you give him a proven wide receiver too, who maybe has the ability to still be a low-end wide receiver 1 on his best days. You got Pop Douglas, who's going to be playing in the slot. Now all the Patriots need is to draft Travis Hunter with the 4th pick in the draft And now they will have one of the better receiving cores in the league. Stefon Diggs, don't let that injury last season scare you. This is somebody who has played 16, 17 games, the majority of his career, and he's only missed this many games as what he missed in 2024, his rookie season. You're getting somebody that is pretty dependable. He's reliable. He still is one of the better route runners in the league. Yeah, he is losing a little bit of juice, but like I said, you get Travis Hunter and you pair him up with Stefon Diggs. Drake Maye should be in for a really big second season with the Patriots because you give him one of the better wide receiver duos in the league. That's how good Travis Hunter is. Travis Hunter has the ability to come in right away as a rookie and be an all-pro. He's not just a great corner. I think he also is just as good playing wide receiver, if not a little bit better, with how dynamic he is after the catch and how rare his body control is. Drake Maye getting Stefon Diggs only helped him when you had one of the worst, if not the worst, wide receiving core in the NFL last year. Mike Vrabel, when he got fired by the Tennessee Titans, he had no receivers. They got rid of his best receiver ever in A.J. Brown. He doesn't want to lose a second job due to the same mistake, the same mishap that caused him to lose his job in Nashville. He's trying to correct that. The New England Patriots are no longer a premier destination. You have to overpay a little bit to entice guys to want to play in a place like Foxborough. What is there to do up there? Foxborough, Massachusetts. The only thing I know that's good from there outside of the Patriots, the Celtics, is John Cena. That's about it. But Stefon Diggs is going to be a great pickup for this Patriots offense. And as long as they can find a way to get Travis Hunter, this is going to be a really good receiving core now. Russell Wilson is one of the last quarterback dominoes in free agency to fall. He's signing a one-year deal with the New York Giants, and it looks like we're going to have a quarterback battle between Russ and famous Jameis during the offseason. I guess this is a sign that the Giants feel they're going to be unable to land Shedeur Sanders. The Browns probably going to draft him second overall. With Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, you have two quarterbacks that you're going to have to run two different offenses, whichever one you choose to roll with as QB1 this season. Russell Wilson, you are going to have to run a ball control offense with him. He does have a really good deep ball, but outside of that, he just throws a bunch of check downs. He's scared to throw in the middle of the field, but he does take really good care of the football. With Jameis Winston, he's really reckless. You get a bunch of turnovers, but you have a way more explosive offense with him in. Your offense is at least going to be able to put up 17, 20 points per game. Most instances with Jameis Winston being in, just with how aggressive he is. All the receivers are going to love him, even if you end up having a bad season again. Malik Neighbors is not going to be frustrated this year like how he was last year with Jameis Winston throwing him the football. Every receiver that Jameis Winston plays with, he elevates. Jerry Jeudy had the best season of his career when Jameis Winston was throwing him the football. Do y'all remember Brashard Perryman? He's one of the biggest first-round busts ever for wide receivers in the draft. And when he played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when Jameis Winston was still slinging the pigskin down there, he had his best career numbers ever. So Jameis Winston, with his reckless playing style, it elevates the entire offense. It makes this offense more explosive. And if Brian Dable can find a way to make Jameis Winston a game manager like how Sean Payton did in 2021, his final season in New Orleans, there's a chance the Giants could make it to the postseason with Jameis Winston. I'm going to be honest with you. The problem with Jameis Winston is the more you ask him to throw the football, the more you increase the chances he ends up making bad decisions. Sean Payton was able to win with him because before Jameis Winston went down with that season-ending injury in Sean Payton's final season in NOLA, they were 5-1 on top of the NFC South, and then he gets injured against the Buccaneers, and then their season kind of falls apart, although they finished 9-8. But if Jameis Winston would have stayed healthy, who knows? Maybe they would have won the division and made it to the postseason. Sean Payton only asked Jameis to throw the ball no more than 24 times. The Giants have a capable running back, and you do have an offensive line that at this point you expect to at least be average. So Jameis Winston with Brian Dable, one of the better offensive minds in the league, this is going to be a fun offense to watch with him in. As a diehard Steelers fan, if you go with Russell Wilson, yeah, you're going to have a few flashy moments here and there with the moon ball, but outside of that, hitting those plays 4 or 5 times a game is not worth it when you have somebody that just throws 15 million checkdowns up until the fourth quarter. Then that's when he wants to start being aggressive. That's when Russell Wilson plays his best football, when you're down multiple scores. He just isn't good anymore. And I really don't get why Russell Wilson still has such this big army of a fan club that still keeps living in this nostalgia of his glory days in Seattle. At this point, Russ is nothing more than a name. If he was still as good as what some of his fanboys make him out to be, he wouldn't be competing for the starting quarterback job on a 1-year deal with Jameis Winston. Come on now. It's time to admit that Russell Wilson is washed. And after this last pit stop, this is probably going to be his last opportunity to ever be a starter again. We have to admit when certain guys are past their prime. I don't know what happened after he got traded away from Seattle, but he lost all his juice, all his aura. I don't even call him Russ. I don't call him Russell Wilson. I just call him Russell. Because when you look at Russ, you don't see the aura no more. You just don't see the juice. You know, he's a good backup. He can come in, have a few good plays for you, but if the Giants are actually trying to win some games this year, Jameis Winston gives them the best chance at being able to do that, even with the turnovers. It's okay if Jameis Winston throws you 2 interceptions because he's going to end up throwing you 4 touchdowns. You rather have that. If Brian Dable and Joe Shane's jobs are on the line this year, and you really have to pick a quarterback out of these two to roll with, you got to go with Jameis Winston. He gives you the best shot because of the big playability, because you know that Jameis Winston is going to put touchdowns on the board for you. Even with the interceptions, he's going to win you a few games. You're going to be a fun team to watch with Jameis Winston. You can go into a game on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football in the primetime spot against a good team with Jameis Winston if you're the New York Giants and feel like you have a shot to win. But with Russell Wilson, it's just, nah, you don't. But with Jameis Winston, though, when he has those games when he throws 2 interceptions, 5 touchdowns, 400 yards, how many games are you really going to lose when he's playing that way? So if you can find a way to reel that in, over the last couple of seasons, we've seen veteran quarterbacks go to the right spot and they end up having some really good seasons, like Joe Flacco with the Cleveland Browns. You know, I'm not saying that the Giants are going to be world beaters with Jameis Winston if he ends up getting the starting job, but I'm just saying they're going to be a fun team to watch, and they're going to be pretty competitive with him. And when he has those games when he's just feeling it and he's just ripping it to Malik Neighbors and he's going off for 200 yards, Malik Neighbors with Jameis Winston probably ends up winning Offensive Player of the Year next year. If you're playing fantasy football right now, you're licking your chops because you're getting Jameis Winston and you're getting Malik Neighbors. Fantasy cheat code. You saw what Jamar Chase did last year. Malik Neighbors could very well do the same thing with Jameis Winston. You want to know why Mike Evans has had all these consecutive years with over 1,000 yards receiving? thanks to Jameis Winston for the first 4 years of those stretches. With how he just feeds these wide receivers the ball, the Giants have to go with Jameis Winston this year. Now, y'all know I love Shedeur Sanders. And I believe Shedeur has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL, unless he gets drafted by the Browns second overall. Going to Cleveland is the worst destination possible for Shedeur to land. The Browns have the perfect situation for Shedeur to struggle in his rookie season. You have a head coach on the hot seat. We saw what happened with the Bears last year when Matt Eberflus was trying to save his job and he drafted Caleb Williams. He got fired after Thanksgiving. And then you also are going to be asking Shedeur to go into his rookie season with all of these high expectations that comes from him having that last name on the back of his jersey, playing in arguably the toughest division in the NFL. You know, the Steelers with Mike Tomlin are at least going to win 9 games. So Cleveland at least is going to have to win 9 or more games to at least be in third place in the division and have a shot at competing for the postseason. Then you have to go against 2 of the 3 best quarterbacks in the game right now, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. This just is not a good situation for a young quarterback to succeed. I love Shedeur Sanders, and I believe he is going to be a great quarterback if he goes to any team other than the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders, the Giants, whoever else, is a way better spot for Shedeur to go. Going to Cleveland is not the move. Kevin Stefanski and their general manager, right now, their jobs are in jeopardy. I don't know who else is out there for them to get at quarterback. Probably Kirk Cousins, due to the familiarity that he has with Kirk Cousins or with Kevin Stefanski playing in the system in the past. But listen, Shedeur going to Cleveland is just a walking disaster. The Browns have been one of the worst teams in the NFL at developing rookie quarterbacks. Brady Quinn wasn't good. Johnny Manziel wasn't good, even though you couldn't really develop him at all. Deshaun Kaiser, Brandon Whedon, they just aren't a great franchise at developing young QBs. With Shedeur going to Cleveland, I just don't see it working out. And I want him to win and I want him to succeed. But if he falls in the draft and he lands in Pittsburgh, I wouldn't have any problem picking him up as a Steeler fan. The Steelers have a already tailor-made situation for him to come in and produce at a high level. The Browns just don't have the stability up top. And the roster isn't really that great neither. Shedeur going to Cleveland is just setting himself up to have a disastrous rookie season.